This is going to be the second episode of our playthrough of the country of Rome in Imperator Rome. And last episode we did conquer 2 countries and it more than doubled our size, but that did come with some repercussions that we will have to deal with in this episode. So, as made in the note, you can see there's lots of things that popped up here. Most of them are negative. This one is always going to stay up there. So we're just going to go down the line and hope some of them fix themselves. So we're going to go to Scorn Families here. So what you're going to want to do is click on that and it'll pull up the Families tab. You can see the Corneli family is scorned. So what you're going to want to do is find the Corneli family. You're just going to want to slowly scroll through them. And I noticed that this guy is not employed, which it will say at the top, and that he's above ours in zeal, or the religious strength. So I'm going to want to go over to the religion tab, the offices tab, and I'm going to want to appoint him, as this job, which it is, does happen to not have anyone appointed. As you can see that they won't be appointed there. So I'm going to appoint him. You can see that there's a name, or a scorned mark by his name, and I'm just going to appoint him there. And you notice that there's another one, and this person can fill in that spot, and that will completely finish the Scorn families. That Scorn tab will continuously pop up, and you do want to deal with it as quickly as possible, even though it might be annoying, because it can lead to some characters getting disloyal, and then potentially trying to get some revolts. So here you can see bad research ratio. This doesn't typically matter if you're not going to spend all your money on these things, so we're going to ignore that for now. As you can see, they want me to spend 96, but I only have 191. It just wouldn't really make sense for me to try and get these to increase faster. So we're going to skip over here to the unused trade routes, and we're just going to select import. As you can see, the screen is now drastically different than it was in the beginning of the game. Now some imports have an X. As you can see, some have no one that might import it. And maybe if we want to go to iron, you can see that they don't like us anymore. So what we're going to want to go is for slave happiness, because if you notice up here, we do have a 31% of our population is slaves, so that will help them be more productive and not revolt. And we're going to have to import it from our own country. And so that's another window dealt with. Now we're going to head to the Starving Pops window here. And you might be alarmed at this initially, because obviously the Pops are starving, which can lead to them revolting and potentially dying. But we did just finish a war and have not unpaused the game since. And so these areas right here are going to be starving because we were laying siege to the areas over here and fighting, and which will sap the resources of the lands around here. And then this we already covered earlier. We're not spending a ton of money on that. Typically, you only do that if you find a really good thing that you really need, and if you have a lot of money and this isn't going to be too annoying for you. Now we're going to head over to the Omen window. We are going to choose to enact Jupiter, because you might have noticed we have a rather large number of aggressive expansion, because we did take a lot of land in that war, completely taking over 2 countries. And we do have a temple for this god right here in our capital, and that will help us get down an aggressive expansion. As you see there, I'm just going to click it, and then it will grant us that for 5 years. And so now we're just going to unpause the game, and we're going to try and let some of these issues rework themselves. You're going to always want to accept these. And then, so you can see this does happen occasionally when your country grows significantly, as it just did. In the last episode with us conquering that land. We now need to choose a new family to enact or accept, and so that will add another family in the families window. And so we are going to want to choose which family we're going to want to accept, and we're going to choose this one for the military faction, which does help you declare war and make it a lot easier. So we're going to accept that family. And now if you go to Now if you head over to the characters window, you can see that there is a new family right here, and this family does already have 4 jobs, so they're not going to be scorned initially as it might be. And we get a ton of trade. So we are going to accept all these. This is great for our economies. You can see lots of population speed getting up and a ton of money each month. So you just want to select all those. Don't do it too quickly, like spam select, because some are trade offers are longer than others, and you might accidentally decline some that you might not want to decline. And we do. Now it's come to our attention that we don't have a governor for this area. And this is because we did just take over this area, and there's no governor currently appointed. So we're going to want to change the governor, even though there's already no governor, and we are going to appoint this person here. So there's a couple of reasons for that. One, this person is in a family, so if the jobs in that family do decline, then we can have another person here. And as well as this person is older than this person, meaning that if that, we don't want to have to keep changing governors if something would happen. Saying that. And then you can see that this governor is actually really good, 0.17. So that problem is going to be fine. And this governor is going to take control of all the province around here, which was added in the Sizer update. So that's is a relatively new addition. And then our capital region is always going to be the ruler of your country. And so we're just going to get a couple more trades here. And then we are going to want to start thinking of declaring war. Again, Rome, typically in the game, it's going to pause, does go rather quickly, and you don't want the areas around here, say this country might want to expand over here, even though it hasn't yet, and it might make it a bit harder for us to take that out. So we are going to maybe look at finishing off the peninsula down here. You see that this country does have the exact countries that we want as its allies, meaning that we could, and the Senate, with our new additional military faction members, does strongly approve of this. So we're going to want to get a fabricate claim, but we already have claims on them because, or you can see it over here, sometimes you will start off with a lot of claims. So we're just going to, our armies happen to already be over there. They are going to be recovered in a couple months. We're just going to let their armies fully recover. And so before you declare war, you're going to kind of want to note the lay of the land around here. So you can see that there's 2 forts, one here and one here. And so we're going to send one army to each of them. And you're also going to want to note the relative size of the cohorts of the enemy countries. So maybe we might want to send one army to here and one army over here to defend that one, but not over there, because they do outnumber us. Outnumber one of our armies, but not both of them. And then we will have to change this here, and we're going to go with this one, because this character is already pretty loyal, and it's probably going to be fine without a couple months of loyalty going down. So we're just going to, go over here, declare war. Then you can note the allies, and as you see here, there's a lot more allies than we might have accounted for. So here you can see that this nation is going to join. That one's going to join, the purple one, and then this little guy is going to join. And so, as you can see, 3 out of 4 of our subject states will join. And so we're going to ignore this nation right here, because you can see this army doesn't outnumber them, and we'll just take them out for us. And then we might want to send one of these armies to go take out these guys. So we are going to hit OK, and you can see the goal, and that's just up here. And then we're going to confirm, and then we're going to send one army, 2nd Legion over here, and then this army we're going to send to take out that area. And we are going to take control of this army to make sure that nothing happens over here. And so we took them out pretty easily. So that's nice. And then we are just going to completely siege this country because it is pretty small. And so as you can notice, the entire area around here pretty much come alive with different armies. And so you are just going to want to make sure that you know which armies are on your side and which armies are on their side. So if you see a big army forming, you're like, oh good, they should probably help me take out this area. And then they take you out because they're on the enemy side. So try to remember which flags are which. You might just want to remember what flags are in your nation, because we do have less people than them, and so that can help out a bit. And so we are going to send this army over here to help deal with this one, which is kind of running about. We're going to chase these guys over here, which are trying to... Oh, we took out one of their armies. So this army is just kind of just sitting here, hasn't lost a single person, and is doing pretty well, actually. I'm just going to check. Yep, that is an enemy army, and we should take them out because if you know, well, they just split, and they were already split before, which gives them less unity than our army, and we are going to probably be able to take them out. And you can see that was really quick defeat. Well, if this thing didn't pop up, and so yeah, and their army was mostly archers, and half of their army was not there because they only have 5,000 men. So we are just going to sit here and lay siege to that area right there, and then you can see siege Barbia as one. That was a siege. We only lost 1,000 men, probably due to attrition, and we're just going to send them right over here to take out that area. And so now in war, you can see we have more starting pops, this time in the areas in which we are fighting, which are also the areas that have been captured by the enemy. And so this is typically not going to be too big of a problem. You can see here that starting pops, but we do still have plenty of food, plus 17 a month. So that will go away once we retake that area. So now we have bandits. So we can either lose lots of manpower, which we don't really want to do because we are currently at war, and that manpower is what regenerates our armies so we can stay fighting. So we are going to build a shrine to Valesius, and that will deal with that problem. You can notice they do have an enemy navy, so I'm going to put our navy onto independent operations, so it will just do whatever it wants, hopefully not lose to those pirates right there. Okay, I did not lose those pirates. Okay. So yeah, navies typically, unless you're carrying troops around, they typically should be an independent operation because that. And you can see that we are currently being absolutely demolished over here. We are defeated. You can see 6,800 troops are killed, and we only killed 3,000. And that is why we wanted to keep that manpower up, because now the 8,200 men will be able to be regenerated, and then over and over again. This siege over here is going pretty well. Most of our current troops are over there, and a ship loss has hazardous waters. That is annoying, but not much that you can do about that. You see that this is kind of the formation of what you can call like a super army, which is an army of when you have a lot of nations that are kind of small, but they can combine their armies to form a really big army that can potentially absolutely destroy you. So this army is laying siege to that area. So what we're going to do once this army over here has decided, too many windows open at once, this army has decided to regenerate its troops, and this army is finished. So that sieging these troops we're gonna send it right over here, and then we'll send these troops once they've regenerated. You can see now we've won that. We are gonna send our troops to combine with this army. Actually, we're gonna switch that around. You're gonna go here, and then they're gonna hopefully march and help us out. So you see that some of them have left the army, but they're still pretty close. And so what we're going to do is kind of wait for these guys to commit to go in there, which they're going to do it now. So we wanted to make sure, wait for them to commit so we weren't just sending our army in to die. And you can see that we are on this side this time, and we do end up taking them out. So that's good. And then now we're going to have a lot of momentum for taking them out, because we just took out their big army, which is with a combination of all of their armies, really. So this guy, you might encounter these kind of armies sometimes. They are lazy. You put them in an operation, and they just sit over here and do nothing. So these ones, what I typically do with them is just put them on the hardest job, so it takes a while. And this army also is lazy. So we are going to send them to help these guys out over there. You can see we are winning the war. We have a 12 in war score. And so this war, once we take out all of the capitals and forts, we're just going to completely destroy them, pretty much. And so this here, you can see that we are the aggressors in war, so our aggressive expansion is as much, but it's still going down. And that does affect wrong culture happiness, but you don't have to worry too much about that, because you can see the culture area is here. It's pretty much all Rome, which is a bit of that kind of purple-blue color. So one of their armies has decided to take us on. Never mind, they changed their mind. So you see these armies are kind of all just sitting here, kind of being a bit cowardly, and just waiting for this siege to really finish, because they know they can't take us out. And once that siege finishes, we're gonna move our combined armies to right there. And look, they are gonna try and engage us, and they're probably gonna lose really badly. And so completely destroyed them, and this is gonna be great, because now we can just swoop in there once that siege finishes. Might have seen it pop up for a second there. War with Kyrgyzstan, aka the purple guys over here, the other slightly big nation over here. So we just finished second city, and so we are gonna pause the game and see war. They've declared war on all of our allies, even though you can notice that one of them was disloyal and wasn't joining us in this war. They're still our allies, so they do have, or subject states, so they do have to defend us. And so what we're gonna have to do here, you can see that these nations are all heading back up here, and this they are worth it. Probably bite up a bit more. See that they probably bit off a bit more than they could chew. They do only have 13 cohorts, and they are versing all of us. And so what they were trying to do probably is trying to swoop in on the moment over here while we were busy up here and declare war on us. So what we're going to do is our armies are slightly depleted by 50,000 men, or sorry, 5,000 men. 50,000 men would be a lot. And so we're going to go and we're going to see what we could take. So we could potentially take all of this. So that will give us 2 aggressive expansion, and we would barely be able to do it. And so we are going to accept this offer. So I'll kind of lay out the reasons here. So first of all, we can't take this as well, and they're not going to let us, so we're going to have to leave that alone. So as you can see here, there's 3 forts that we would have to take out, and as well as trying to defend ourselves against them. Those 3 forts would sap all of our men and take a lot of time, so we are just going to settle for this deal right here, and we can declare war on this nation a bit later once that truce. So different quarter, then you can see that we've accumulated that land. Our aggressive expansion did go up a bit, and we're going to send our troops over here. You can see that they have sent all of pretty much their entire army over here to go try and sack that city. And so once pirate screen gets away, they are going to initially defeat our men, because they are not our men, these guys' men, which are kind of idiots. They only have 3,000 troops, and they do have 13,000. So a bit dumb. You can see that now some larger armies and our army are heading up there. And so this is actually a good opportunity, since we are not the aggressors in war. Our aggressive expansion will go down by the amount it would if we were not at war. And we could potentially take out to this country here without having to face the repercussions that would come with us declaring war on them. You can see our manpower is heading up because none of our troops have died. And so shipwrecked. We'll just say we should help. Or we're going to go with this one, because we are not doing really well. And so you can see another red flag. So head of the Corneli family co-council had decided that he does not like what's going on, because he doesn't want to. So you see here, civil war, 40 months. So what we're going to try and do here is get rid of this guy. So I've probably told you before about how kind of cool trick to get rid of him. And so you can see he is a Barnabas. I could have sworn we tried to get rid of him before, but we will make him rival. We will head over to our ruler's window, and we will plan assassination on this guy. And so that will take a 60% chance of success, and if the civil war does get down to like maybe 10 months, which once it's at 10 months, it could really start at any month, because the timer is not really super accurate. They're not like, we're planning on starting the war at exact date, exact time. It might happen really almost at any time. And so that he is kind of, nope, that's our ruler. We could just give him free hands or bribe him, and that will get his loyalty up enough for the civil war to go away, and then we would be able to assassinate him then. So we're going to put these guys in an impotent operation, and they are not lazy, and they want to actually help us out. And this trade is always good. You can see we've taken one of them prisoner. And if you do want to know how to get rid of prisoners, that was a really big defeat for them, because they just lost pretty much their entire army. Yep, now they have 2 cohorts. So if you want to try and get rid of prisoners, like executing them, you can go to characters, and then you have to check the imprisoned, and then you can see who's imprisoned. And then if you really want to execute them, you can go over here and then execute. But the Senate doesn't want to do that right now, so we can't do it. And it does give you tyranny, so it's not really the best thing to do, because it really doesn't help you that much. So what I am going to do is, since our navy, which has mysteriously grown from 8 to 10, I'm going to put them right here. I'm going to say you have to stay there, because their navy is bigger than ours, and it wouldn't be good for the war and for us if they did take out a navy. So that will be gentle, I'm assuming. Yeah, there's a fort somewhere around there. And this army, lazy army, never mind. There is a enemy army, because these guys decided to join in. Pro tip, don't be like me and always check who is actually fighting in the war. So we are fighting against all of these guys. So 2 cohorts, 8 cohorts, and 3 cohorts. More than enough for us to deal with. You can see that we completed a number of them. The counter up here. And so we are going to allow that army to head back and try and assist some of our allies. And so here, military tradition. This occurs when your military experience gets up, and you can select a military tradition. And what this does is, if you might have before gone over to the army and said, ooh, construct like border forts or like something like that, that is an ability for the army, and you will have to find it up here. Let's see if I can find it. Here it says a tactic that you can enable. Even I'm sure the construct border fort ability over here could help. We are going to go with the heavy infantry offense ability, because that does benefit our nation more than the other one, and we would have to wait till then. So we are going to enact that one, and then the next one we can do is it's separated into 3 rows here. So you can do 1 row, and then you can do another row, or you can just split between 2 rows. But you will need 100 military tradition to enact one, and that will go up later in the game once you've got more of them, you could say. As you can see, this army has just realized that my army is about to take them out, and we're going to meet them right up here with this army, which is at just about 0. They're all at 0 morale. So this could be a really good fight for us. And then a crime, we'll just do that. And then we killed some of their men, and imprisoned some of their men, and imprisoned more of their men. And so, as we go through that, we now pretty much just halted them. And you can see that this army was over there about to join in. So we're going to put them in independent operation in case they don't want to sack that city. And you can see our army is kind of happily sieging away over here, really not being disturbed. We are going to enact this same ability, because we do want to get that aggressive expansion down. And I did not notice before, but this went up because we chose a decision that's increased our aggressive expansion. This is not too bad for us, but this can lead to revolts. If maybe you are a nation up here, and you're right here, and you conquer this area right here, they will revolt because they are not your culture, and that's what aggressive expansion does affect. So let's hit OK. We won that siege, and now this army is just going to go lay siege to other things. And so we are now decisively winning the war. They probably have a lot of regret right now about their choices in deciding to declare war on us, but we're not going to give in. So here we have a drought. We're just going to pay for the drought right there, and we are going to have to select a new title because someone died. just like we said before, they might. Okay, we are going to select this person right here because they are kind of dangerously close to the Scorn's family tab area. So you can say, and you notice that that rebellion did work itself out, or we assassinated them. Yep. Yeah, the assassination worked. It doesn't pop up unless you fail, in which it'll say you've been caught. But, so we did manage to assassinate that ruler, or family leader. So you can see this army has now kind of fallen victim to the AI and is kind of just walking back and forth. Now they decided to do something, but there's other armies, like armies over here, that might want to deal with that, could deal with that. So we're gonna send this army to help out here because you can see that this army's numbers are getting pretty low, and that could kind of automatically end the siege. You can see that army did happen to lay siege to this area over here, which is always nice. And so we're probably going to gain a lot of land and aggressive expansion from this war, if it goes well. And a side note, enemy nations can make peace treaties, but you might not always want to accept them. But they can be better than what you can get, so you might want to check that. So we just won that siege right there. You can see that automatically captures the lands around there, and we are now very strongly rooted into their land. We are going to send one army over here to capture this capital, which means we will be able to take out all of this area, and we are going to probably settle mostly for that. You can see that that army just captured that little area, and then we'll send that army over there. And so we're going to check right here. Now we have 99. We're going to see what peace offer we could potentially get. And if we could get more potentially, then we will. So this is currently all the land we have captured. And you can see that we are 81, and they are pretty much perfectly fine. So we're going to settle with this offer because you can see aggressive expansion would get a lot higher. And this, they're really at 9, and they're not going to get much higher. As you can see that it is at 99, unless we do completely capture all of this, which would take a while. So we're going to hit OK. Then hit enemies deserve no quarter. And we are going to end up getting a truce with this nation, meaning that we can't declare war on them within 5 years, which is annoying. And if you break the truce, you get a ton of negative precautions, which is not very good. You can see we select a governor for that area. So now we are a long, thin country and have definitely probably quadrupled our size since the initial beginning of the game. And so that's going to be about it for this episode. We did take a lot of land, and I'll see you again next time.